Hello and welcome to episode 15 of MarbleRace. There's a lot of info on that current status if you want to pause it, but this is leg 82 and we're down to our final three. Josh's Amarth, Rory's Viridian, and Isaiah's Iris. Tragically, one of these will fall just short of the grand finale sequence of a 1v1. Here we have three spinners for leg 82, and whoever's spinner lands on the odd color out will be eliminated. So they have 2/3 chance of landing on blue, 1/3 on the red, 1/3 chance on green. And so as you can see, Iris has landed on green and Viridian has landed on red. So by this point, Amarth is safe, but whichever color Amarth lands on will be the person that Amarth will be facing off in the grand finale. And it appears that it is going to be green, meaning that Viridian is eliminated. We're now down to our final two, but first, eulogies. Between these three, they had 14 marbles, and 11 of these were eliminated before this episode, but now 12 are eliminated. We'll be looking at all three of theirs in this eulogy because we won't have an opportunity later once somebody's won. If you need a reminder as to who's on the bottom there, we have Isaiah's colors. On the top, we have Rory's, and then Josh's singular almond will be appearing in the middle. And we have Viridian out, meaning that we are left with those two, Iris and Amarth. It will be a best of 23 scenario, so that would be 12 wins needed in order to win MarbleRace. And Amarth is on top of that scoreboard, Iris is on the bottom of that scoreboard. This is leg 39 rehash. So this was a leg that previously appeared in episode 7. It was leg 39, and this is leg 39 rehash. These rehashes, I rebuilt some of them. I still had some of them, but a lot of them I rebuilt from what they were during the episode. And the goal of leg 39 rehash was to touch that red thing in the middle. Just started was leg 1, the very first leg. It was just a big bowl, but there would have been 104 marbles racing on this bowl during that time, and Iris has just won. Most of these legs are going to be to just get to the end before the other person, and Iris just did that. So Iris gets their point first. Now back to 39. We'll be seeing that happening a lot, where we'll have two legs going at the same time, maybe more. And just keep your eye on whichever one you want. I'll be pointing out specifically what's happening either. And Amarth has just won 39 rehash. Seems like a little bit of a slight change there. Amarth was facing towards it and so touched it first. Here we have leg 30 rehash, initially appearing in episode 5. This was the episode where they were all squares, and you have to go further to the right after being launched. A bit of alternating there between who's in front, and it looks like Iris has won this. Sometimes we get singular legs, no overlap. This is like 15 rehash. This appeared in episode 3, episode 2, 3, and episode 1, 2. So 1, 2, and 3, I'm saying. Those episodes had a lot of get to the end first, which is something you would expect out of a MarbleRace. So they'll have to be good at those in order to get points to win this. But, of course, there were a lot of legs where the goal wasn't to get to the end necessarily. Some of them were just to not touch something. Some of them were to touch something. Some of them were to collect something. We'll see one of those later. And so they have to be good at all of those sorts of things, too. As you can see, Iris has made it out of that initial elevator trap in this conveyor belt. And Amarth is still stuck. It looks like Iris will be getting another here. But remember, it's best of 12. So even though they're up by 2, that's not a lot. As seen by the text there, these two legs were the most annoying to record for me. The goal of that top one there, leg 56 rehash, is to touch the most of those black circles flying back and forth. But as they touch the right and left edges, they go more towards the center. So eventually there will be very little room. And they start out fast around those marbles, but as they hit more and more circles, they lose more and more momentum to just friction as they hit whatever lanes those circles are in. But as we near the end, they start to bounce more between the two sides. On the bottom there is leg 61. There's 16 cells there, and they have to go through all of them, and that one also took a while to film. Just started here is leg 75 rehash on top, 73 rehash on bottom. These appeared in episode 13, where each of the competitors designed their own legs. And so the leg that Amarth designed is on bottom, and the leg that Iris designed is on top. Now, the interesting thing about this is that neither of them have ran their own legs. So even though Iris is winning by a slim margin in their leg right now, they haven't run it before. Meanwhile, Amarth has. Same thing goes for the bottom. Amarth hasn't run that leg, but yet they're still doing slightly better. That being said, they have the same obstacle for the start, so we'll see what that does. And if you look at the top left now, Amarth is winning by a little over 10 right now, and they have more momentum, so they'll be able to hit more circles. However, there can still be a lot more collisions with circles that happen as we go through this leg. In the bottom left there, they've made it past that first row. Some of those first ones are kind of fast, but specifically that fourth one there, you saw them bouncing a lot on that triangle. They bounce a lot sometimes at that triangle. Specifically the seventh one there, they will bounce a lot there. So it's a huge time waster if you finally get through one of these boxes and you land in the red. So if a marble decides to take a calculated risk, maybe you save the velocity that you get by touching that red, and it gets you a green easier, and maybe that sets you in the right direction for the next box. But Amarth is ahead by one box there. If we check back in on the right side, they have the same second obstacle too. Pretty similar. It seems like in the bottom one, leg 73 rehash, Amarth is doing a little bit of a different strategy than they're doing on the top there, leg 75 rehash. Amarth is in a separate lane from Iris on his own leg, and meanwhile on the top they're in the same. At least it's a small difference, you know. I decided to put all four of these very long legs together for your viewing enjoyment, so you don't have to watch just one of them. You're welcome. If we look at the bottom left, like I said, bounces a lot on that triangle. Iris has a chance to catch up, and if they hit Amarth in just the wrong way, they could send Amarth into the red. And Iris could get in the green. That can be a huge setback, and Amarth went into the red. They have to do that all over again. Looks like it's being sped up, though. And if we look at the right side again, they're both about to reach their third obstacles. Despite being in the same side there, in the purple leg, they still have about the same amount to go, if not a little more than the bottom set of marbles, even though they should have been able to jump into each other and lose some momentum. Looks like they didn't think that through, and now I have to wait longer while filming. Amarth still up by 10 in the top left, and Amarth has moved into that third obstacle in the bottom right. The third obstacle is a repeat of the second one, so maybe that these two made the finale was a little boring when I had to include both of their custom-built legs, because they were largely similar, but at least in the top right there, we have a shooter obstacle that Iris has. And it looks like Amarth has just done it. Amarth beat Iris at their own leg. That's the point for Amarth. Gets 2. In the top left there, Amarth's still ahead. In the bottom left, we've reached a new row, and both of them have gotten past that 7th box there. This third row here is a lot of Plinko-type things, especially the 10th, 11th, and 12th boxes overall. Kind of Plinko-ish. That last one there in the third row looks kind of deceptively easy. It looks like there's big gaps between the Plinkos, but you still have to fit by a 1x1 gap there. Now they're both on the same row. In that first box there, the hexagon one, sometimes you bounce in a repetitive pattern, but eventually they'll lose some to air friction and fall to the next one. And Iris can easily catch up here because it's a Plinko board and Amaranth just went into the red. So all Iris has to do is hit green and they'll be essentially tied, and they are tied. Knocked Amaranth out, which is a little bad, but they're in the same box at least. If we look at the top left, getting a little bit more momentum there. Hard to say how long that'll last because they'll be hitting the circles more. And in the bottom right there, Amaranth has won. So Amaranth has won both of the custom legs built, even their own leg that they have not played. This right here on the right, this is leg 4 rehash. This was the worst design leg ever, and so I included it here. Now, imagine this, but the marbles were half as big. That is how this originally was. It was 101 marbles, something around there. And they were all racing half the size as these marbles, and you still had to keep track of whichever one you were following out of all of that chaos. Hard to say how long this recording will take, but this is one of the 5 longest ones that I've just had to redo. At least I'm speeding them up momentarily. In the top left, they're quite close, but moving very slow. Amaranth only up by 2 now, lost around 8 or so of that 10-point lead. And in the bottom left, Iris has gotten to the 4th and final row. Once they complete that 16th box, Iris will get the win, but these are some fast boxes here. 2 done by Iris. Amaranth just needs to speed through those first 2 and they'll be tied. Iris speeding through all 3 of them in the final box. And they're tied in the top left there, 126 points in each. They are tied. Amaranth continuing to hit red in the bottom left. As you can see here on the right side, if you haven't noticed it yet, there are anti-gravity pads there on the bottom, that blue bar, that big blue bar. That makes them go up instead of down. And the red bar sets them back to normal. In order to finish the leg, they must reach that bottom little goal there with the green box. They got to get into the bowl just to the left of that. And in order to do so, they have to have normal gravity or else they'll bounce right back out. So if they hit the blue, it's essentially just a huge time loss if you hit a blue. Because you can't get in there, you gotta get all the way back to the top, and then you're gonna have a ton of momentum because you're so high up. And Amaranth has just won leg 4 rehash. If we look at the top left there, Amaranth's starting to take back their lead. There I say in the edit. Amaranth up by 10. Amaranth is also now winning by 1. And if we look at the bottom left, they're in the same box now. Amaranth got those fast ones out of the way, but Iris just got green. That means that Iris has won leg 61 rehash. Appeared in episode 11 alongside this one. As we get closer and closer to the end, hitting the sides, they'll zoom in closer and closer. But you'll notice that they were despairingly hit, the right one more so than the left one. So you see as they near the center, the right one doesn't shrink. But Amaranth has won. Amaranth is still up by 1. Now we have leg 37 rehash, episode 7. This episode, they were in pairs, they were eliminated in pairs. However, no pairing was inside of just one person. Every single pairing had at least 2 people's marbles involved. Meaning that 8 people lost marbles, something around that. Here's leg 19 rehash. Gotta get all 7 of your marbles into that chute on the right. If we want to talk about that top right leg more, they hit that bar down there that says Amaranth and Iris followed by a certain number of ticking up. If they hit that, they get 100 more added to that number. Meanwhile, every frame that the simulation runs, they'll get another number. So the goal is finish it faster than your opponent, but if you hit it a lot, you're going to have a higher number anyway. So don't do either of those. Look at the left side there. 2 marbles left each. Both of their completely normal marbles, if you see on the left side of each of them, normal marbles. Not darkened or anything. But Iris has won that. Tie it up. 37. They gotta get over that bouncing obstacle without falling backwards and hitting the bar more, but it looks like Amaranth has gotten it. In order to complete it, your top marble must hit that green. As you can see, Amaranth's number has stopped counting. Iris didn't hit it on the top, they hit it on the top. Now their time is ended. And Iris has a higher time, remember that's bad, so Amaranth has a point and is now up by 1. Leg 48, this appeared in episode 10. This was the battle for 17th place. Sadly, neither of these marbles got 17th place, but they are battling for first place, which is about as cool, I guess. Maybe. Their goal is to stay inside of that orange hexagon there. If they go outside of it, they lose. However, those spinners can be quite jumpy if you hit them just the right way. Amaranth is trying to get Iris out on the right there, but Iris had way too much speed there. Iris is out. Amaranth winning by 2. Now we have leg 40 rehash, I believe that is. This comes from episode 8, and there were originally 7 marbles in each heat. Those are now 5 random colored marbles along with Iris and Amaranth. And on the main scale here, we have leg 32 rehash from episode 5, the cube episode. The goal here is to find your way in, like the plinko, try to get into the correct area at the bottom. The obstacles are roughly recreated. This is about the worst recreation of a rehash that we'll see here, but it's decent as a leg design, I'll say that. Black squares don't count for anything, just like the yellow ones don't count on the top left. Once the top left finishes that counter in the very top left, we'll see exactly how many of those objects that Iris and Amaranth have colored. Whoever's colored the least loses that. So far, for the main attraction, leg 32, nobody's gotten to the right chute yet. Still a lot of black squares that they have to contest with. Getting a little help there, I see, getting stuck. I believe this is another time where chutes appears, and it looks like they are in separate chutes, and there's only 2. So Iris has won 32 rehash. Only up by 1, Amaranth is. Leg 40, main attraction again, but only 800 frames left of this simulation. You gotta color all of these that you can. These neutral marbles are coloring a lot of what you've already got, Iris, but Amaranth is getting a lot of new territory here. And that's it. It would appear that Amaranth has more objects colored. So Amaranth has won 40 rehash. Leg 41, this one was originally a lot of marbles, so we've shrunk it quite a bit. There's some neutral green there, but they don't count. Just like the last one, it was 7,200 frames, but now there's only 2 marbles here rather than around 70 or so. So we'll be adding, leg 34 rehash. Left side that appeared in episode 8, right side appeared in episode 6. This was the episode where they became humans, which was gross. And that episode 8 on the left would have been the painting episode. Goal of the leg on the right is to score 3 baskets on the right side there. And once they do so, they will win. And that's it. In order to score the basket, you gotta get up on the left side and travel without losing too much velocity on the right. On the left, we've still got plenty of time to go, and it's almost evenly matched. Iris is just a teensy bit more than Amaranth. Oh, and Amaranth fell out of the elevator there. They're going to lose a shot to get a basket. And because of that, they were beaten by 2 baskets by Iris. It's tied up. No, sorry. Amaranth is up by 1. Amaranth got stuck in a trap. I typically notice that they get stuck bouncing back and forth in the same way whenever we deal with hexagons here. They get unstuck whenever a different marble hits them out. So if they get stuck, you'll see them get unstuck as they uncover more. There, Iris got Amaranth unstuck. As to why this happens, I don't want to think about that too much. And the time is ended, so I don't have to think about it anymore. Whoever has the most wins, and it looks like that is Iris. So now it is tied up. It wasn't before. Now we have 23 rehash. Leg 4, this was the teams episode. 7 marbles you have to get to finish. Bunch of random obstacles here. Super bouncy. You want to try to get to the edges maybe, and you want to get between the obstacles and the edge, going hopefully with enough vertical momentum downwards that you can get through, even on the right there with that slant putting you upwards. 2 marbles left from each. The slightly lighter color marble finished for each of them, leaving with just the, one darker for each, both in a similar area. Amarth with a little bit more velocity though, and Iris gets down there on the bottom first. Iris is now up by 1. Leg 71 rehash, episode 12. This was a break episode. Not one of the greatest episodes. Iris slightly more to the left than Amarth. Now, okay, they're no longer symmetrical. The goal is to get to those little chutes on the outside there. They each have their own that they're trying to get into. This was originally a team leg, I believe, teams of 3, and whichever team finished last would have been the one out. They try to go straight up. As you reach the top there's a lot more horizontal, so there's a little bit less of a chance that you can right yourself back to going straight vertically. That's what those slight slants at the bottom there of the bouncing areas are for. They're both leaning towards the right. For Iris, that puts them a little bit closer to the chute, but it also means that if they go to the left, they'll have to bounce through more blocks to get back to the bouncer. Marn's bouncing very much, getting a lot of blocks out of the way, and they touch the bottom first. Marth wins that leg. Now they're tied again. Leg 64, episode 11. For your information, episode 11 was the episode that was filled with a ton of 1v1s. And in that episode, actually, Amarth versus Iris was a bowl leg where they had to touch a specific target before the other, and Iris ended up winning that. So whether or not Iris will be able to beat Amarth again, yet to be said. However, the goal of this is to collect the most of those neutral gray marbles. Right now they're tied. So best of 5 for marbles. And both of them going into separate goals, but Amarth had one more still. So Amarth is now up by 1. Leg 44 rehash. Appeared in episode 9, sorry. This was the bicycle episode. Those are bicycles, trust me. They go in a loop. Whichever one touches the bottom of the screen with that red bar first loses. Amarth continuously hit by that spinner there in the middle. If you notice, gray typically means more friction, black means less friction. And, perfect hit on Iris. Iris touched the bottom first. Marnth, 2 ahead of Iris and match point. If Amarth wins this, Amarth wins MarbleRace. The goal of this leg 13 rehash, this would have appeared in episode 2, I believe. This is just to get to the end first. Typical MarbleRace thing. Not any of the usual tricks that they've been learning to adapt to. However, the pink circle there is bouncing back and forth continuously. They have to time exactly when they touch that bottom pink bar to get them to go straight into that hole. And even though Josh originally started with 2 marbles and he has a smaller box there at the top, they still start in the same starting position. So no bias depending on who had more marbles to start with. Iris not touching the circle. Those edge circles there serve as a little bit of a time loss. It makes it more random, and it's harder to discern exactly, Iris is very close. Harder to discern exactly when and how you're going to touch the ground and where that pink circle is going to be when you do it. However, if you keep bouncing up, you're going to be able to time it. So both of them want what's happening to Iris right now about? No. It's happening to Iris a little bit, but it's happening to Amarth now. Amarth did not get it. Remember, match point for Amarth. This has gone on for quite a while. The original leg did take longer than this to film, I would say. The original leg would have been, ooh, Iris just got it. Iris has touched that bottom right corner. Marn's still up by 1 and still a match point for Marn's, but at least Iris got a win. Here we have leg 14, the one immediately after 13, but it was a different episode, was episode 3. Goal of this one, get to the end like normal. However, we have those blue anti-gravity pads that we saw in leg 4 rehash. Marth just touched it before Iris. So, even though Iris is closer to the goal, Iris cannot get in it. So, Marth is closer to winning this, actually. What you don't want to do is immediately speed for the anti-gravity, but you also don't want to bounce around too long in the same area. You want to speed through it, lose a lot of momentum with each bounce if you're going at a high velocity, rather than lose a tiny bit of momentum bouncing at a low velocity. So you would want to be going very fast like Amarth is now when bouncing, rather than right now with Iris, very slow, not losing a lot of momentum. You have to essentially be exactly perfect with where you bounce. How you get into that center, there's a couple of ways to do it. If you go to the far left or far right, you can bounce through that little 4 diamond shape and go straight towards it in a diagonal. If you go down the middle, you have to bounce on the second diamond from the edge and then to the left or right center into the chute, while avoiding that center diamond that blocks the exit chute. Iris currently bouncing down, not anymore, but Iris would have been in the lead just then. Theoretically, if you were the marble on their way down, you are always going to be in first place. So you should try to aim for that other marble to try to lose your momentum. Because remember, you don't bounce off the other marble as much as you bounce off the diamonds or the walls around you. So if you hit them, you're going to lose a lot of momentum. And that's going to be better for you because you're already working your way down. The other one that's still going up still has to go all the way down and lose all that momentum still. Despite having not a lot of momentum, Iris still staying up there on the top layer. Very bad time loss. Remember, match point for Amarth. Iris. Iris is in the lead, though. But Amarth is going very fast, very far down. Look at how much momentum was just lost there, bouncing in that little gap. Amarth currently in first, just touched it, lost some, bounced off, got the anti-gravity, did not make it. His legs are going quite slow. We don't want to speed it up when Amarth is this close to winning, after all. Right now would be a great time for Iris to hit Amarth and lose a lot of momentum. And they didn't need to anyway. They got into the chute. Iris got their final point. They are now tied. It is double match point. 11 wins each, best of 23. Leg 63 rehash. They're both connected and they have to get to the bottom. Now, when they have to get to the bottom connected to each other, there's a lot of negotiation, a lot of strategic placement of how they're oriented in respect to each other and in respect to the environment around them, arguing on that block right there, you know. They got to get to the bottom first, but they got to negotiate themselves into the position where they are the ones closer to the bottom. They are the ones that are going to touch the bottom and win MarbleRace. This is the final leg. Got to be on your game here. And here it is. This is the final obstacle here. Both alternating, whichever one's lower. It's been Iris multiple times now. Marth got a little bit more velocity, should make it sooner. Iris still more towards the end. Now it's a Marth. Iris completely bounced off of that wall. Here it is. Gotta touch that green. Oh, and Iris is going... It is... Marth has touched it just before Iris, stole the win from Iris, and has won MarbleRace. Iris takes second place. So congratulations to Isaiah. Iris takes second. Congratulations to Rory. Verdine takes third. But Marth, Josh, who only started out with 2, wins MarbleRace. Now, I filmed and edited this specific episode 11 months ago by the time I'm reading this out, but the editing file corrupted. I spent a lot of time on it, and so I got a little bit sad. This series as a whole, badly edited, and it had its moments, but I don't expect you to go find them. I would like to make it better edited. Can't really do that, though. The source files are gone. Shown here is a leg that I had to throw out. This would have been 48 rehash, something like that, 19 rehash. You'll see why it's important to what I'm saying. 1 frame difference of who won, but it was too laggy for me to include. In episode 6, I made a wayward promise to Adam, the first person out of the series, that he would get a second chance, and I made this claim in exactly 1 frame of episode 6 during Adam's eulogy in a series where basically everybody but 1 person gets out at some point. So, kind of a stupid, emotional way to do it, but, I mean, he was the first out. I was sad, okay? So now I kind of owe the promise to him, and so I love doing this. I want to do it again.